Hey everybody, this is Todd with Industrial Comfort. If you have a small shop like I do and relatively large tools like this lathe, having mobility solutions is really important. This lathe is a Powermatic 3520C and it weighs in at over 750 pounds. So having the ability to move it around the shop is really important. Now there are no known mobility solutions for this, but I've come up with one that works really well that I'm going to show you how to make today. Now this solution should work for any lathe that has leveling feet. So let me show you how I did it. I've got my 3520C upside down and I needed to do it this way in order to mount the legs and ultimately these casters that we're going to use to create a mobile base. Now if you can see from the angle, there's a hole on each of these feet here. Now, the point of these holes serve one of two purposes, either to mount the risers or to use the self-leveling legs that come with it. Now, in the place of the legs and the risers, I'm going to use one of these leveling casters, and I'll give you a close-up of what this is. Now, this is a little bit shorter than a riser, but it's a nice substitute, and it will allow me to make this lathe mobile. So, let me show you what this is and what we're going to do with it. Now this is what a leveling caster looks like. It's essentially this little contraption, and Amazon sells 100 different varieties of these things. It's got a wheel attached on one end, and it's got a ratchet mechanism that you can use to extend the foot here. So once we have this mounted to the lathe, once we extend the foot, everything will be stable, and we'll use this ratchet mechanism to level the lathe. Now there's a catch. There's two types that you can buy. You can buy either the type that has a square flange with 4 bolt holes so that you can mount this to your workpiece, or you can get a style that looks like this that comes with a threaded sort of hole here for a post. Now, I didn't realize, and I should have known if I had paid attention to the directions, that these holes here in the legs are threaded. Of course, the thread pattern is not going to match the posts that come with these leveling casters. Now, the thread count on this is a 1/2 inch by 12 TPI, or threads per inch. And of course, the thread pattern for this is a 1/2 by 13. And so they're not going to match. So I'm going to show you how we're going to be able to essentially fit these to the bottom of these legs here to get these to work. Now these adjustable casters come with 2 sets of bolts. Now the thread pattern on the insert here is 12 millimeters. So it either comes with a solid 12 millimeter bolt here that you can thread in and then put onto your workpiece, or you have this pattern, which is 12 millimeters on one end and then a 1/2 inch by 13 on the other end. Now, as I said before, a 1/2 by 13 is unfortunately not going to fit the thread pattern of the lathe that I have. So what I've done to make this work is buy a threaded reducer insert. Now, this will allow us to take the threading from this caster and reduce it from 12 millimeters, or an M12 bolt, to an M10. So what I'm going to do is feed this insert in, and then I've bought a bolt that is an M10 with a hex flange head. Now, this is M10, as I mentioned, and it's 30 millimeters long to account for the foot of the lathe, or I should say the bottom of the foot. So all I'm going to do is go ahead and bolt these in. Now, one thing I want you to note, make sure that before you flip your lathe over, that you ratchet this down so that the foot is below the level of the wheel. The last thing that you're going to want to do is try to tip the lathe back over right side and have this wheel start spinning and have the lathe slip. So bolt these on, and then I'll show you how they work. So as I mentioned, before we flip this lathe over, you want to make sure that the foot is higher than the wheel here. Now, these ratchets, if you can see here, have a little switch that allows you to raise and lower the foot here. So we're just going to raise it until it's above the level of the foot. And the other cool thing about these ratchets is they've got a hole here so you can insert a screwdriver if you need more leverage. Now, the one thing I would mention is Amazon has a ton of different varieties of these leveling casters. So make sure that you buy some that are weighted appropriately for the size lathe that you have. So I think these can accommodate about 2,200 pounds, but not all of them are rated at this heavy a duty. So make sure that you do your diligence before you buy these. So I'm gonna get some help. We're gonna flip this over and we'll see how it works. With these leveling adjustable casters, I've effectively taken a 750-pound piece of equipment that was immobile and made it mobile, which is phenomenal, especially if you have a small shop like I do. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching.